I had my Monster drink today.
And I had my, I probably didn't need it, but I had my 5-hour.
All right, here we go. That's for editing.
How many intros do you need?
Thanks, Kelly. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I am Dwayne.
And I am Happy Dave.
Yes, and we're just two best friends talking. Yeah, I bet you are happy. We're just two best friends talking about the show we love, Survivor. Tonight is our recap and feedback show for episode 8 of Revival of Survivor, and it's called what was the name of the episode?
Destroy the Destroyers.
No, it was called Keep It Real.
Okay, we're keeping it real.
Yeah. Hey, just chill out. All right. We are live on our website, stwdd.com or survivortalkwithdnd.com. And if you're listening to us on iTunes or Stitcher or some other audio way after the fact, next Thursday, tune in live 10 p.m. Eastern Time, where we are always live, and there's a chat room going on our website, and you can watch and chat. You can also hashtag STWDD on Twitter and get your comments on the air. Tonight, David.
Yes.
There is no Miko's challenge.
Aww.
I know. He was so disgusted with the episode that he did not do a challenge. That is actually what he said to us.
However,
what?
With his blessing, I have brought to you a birthday gift offering.
Oh, come on. If this is some kind of patronizing...
And what that is...
So I'm going to help you out.
As it stands right now, according to Miko, the current score is David, 52.5. Dwayne, 19. I'm just kidding, not 19.
Wow.
Actually, Dwayne, 41. So you're only 11.5 points behind. So what I've done is I've come up with some questions for different parts of the recap that combined are worth 10 points. This is my offering to you because I know you're too sportsmanlike to want the whole 11.5. So I've come up with points with Miko's blessing because I told him about this. He thought it was a great idea since, like you said, he didn't feel like watching it twice because he didn't care for the episode. But they're not as easy as my questions, but they're not as hard either. There's no fill in the blanks, no things like that. Just questions. In fact, every answer is a castaway. So if you're interested in these 10-point birthday gift points, then I'm willing to give you this challenge throughout the recap.
Okay, this is my answer. No. I will take the questions, but I will not take the points.
You're such a gentleman.
I'm not going to take the points. I will take the questions because that'll be fun.
Okay.
And I have a page full of questions for you at the end.
How did I know that was coming? That tells me I won't get any of those questions.
I tried to make them incredibly difficult.
I will be calling a friend, hopefully in the chat room while it's up.
I don't even, you know what? The chat room can even help you. No problem there. But none of this is for points, but it will be fun. So, Hey, we do want to thank we have two new D&D patrons. A patron is someone who goes to patreon.com/survivortalk and donates as little as $1 a month to help the D&D podcast realm. The mansion that we are building. Anyway, Scott, Walter, and Al and Jessica, do you think it's Hootsma or Houtsma?
I think it's the first one.
Hootsma?
Yeah.
All right. Al and Jessica Hootsma.
No,
so we are
because it looks like the first few letters are like house, right?
Yeah, house. So yeah. Houtsma. But they're from Australia, so I don't know. It may be a Houtsma. I don't know.
No, that's not Australian.
They're Asian Australian.
They're like, we're just going to call in next time.
Yeah.
We're not going to let them say our name.
We are closing in on our patron-only podcast. We don't have what our topic's going to be yet, but as soon as we reach our next milestone, all of you who are patrons will get your very own D&D patron podcast about I don't know what. It can be anything. But anyway, we host 2 Survivor blogs on our website over at stwdd.com, both Shayna and Alex, and links to all our shows, as well as links to Amazon, Patreon, CBS All Access. I don't know if y'all have that, but you can get a week free of CBS All Access by clicking the links on our website. And, of course, iTunes. And, of course, our new podcast, Movie Talk with D&D. David, I got to tell you something.
Tell me something.
Our premiere episode of Die Hard
Mm-hmm.
has already had over 2,300 downloads.
Get out.
Well, that's pretty awesome for little guys like us. You know what I'm saying?
The little guys that could.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we're not some big conglomerate that knows everybody in Los Angeles. We're just two little guys doing a show about Die Hard, and people are downloading it. That is awesome. So, anyway, man, there's some podcasts out there. Like, I think there's one called WTF, and there's one, what's that one you like so much? How Did This Get Made?
How Did This Get Made, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those guys get tens of thousands of downloads. So we're happy to get 2,300. We're pretty excited.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. So anyway, it's a great way to start the podcast. We already have our next movie lined up with my brother, and because Die Hard wasn't an old enough movie, we went older. Romancing the Stone with Michael Douglas,
yes,
Kathleen Turner, and some little short dude named Danny DeVito.
Hey, I got a question.
What?
Have you figured out how you're going to watch this yet? Because I have not found an avenue with which to watch it.
You can't buy it on iTunes?
I haven't checked, so I was going to ask you first to see if you.
I haven't tried to buy it on iTunes yet because we haven't set a date to record.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe my brother should have thought about that before.
I mean, is it? It could be on Amazon too, right? Amazon
Yeah.
streaming or something.
I don't know. I'm sure it's in Michael Douglas's library at his house. We can always just call him.
Yeah, I got his number. Sure.
Yeah, I'll just call Ebert. Anyway, so get yourself on over to Facebook and join our Movie Talk with D&D Facebook group. And that's facebook.com/group/MTWDD. I was going to do Movie Talk, but it's already taken. So, all right, David. What a show. Apparently, from some of the chitter-chatter I was reading today, not everybody enjoyed this episode as much as I did.
Really?
Yeah, did you?
I haven't heard a lot of chitter-chatter, but I did. I actually enjoyed everything except the end because I thought the end was kind of predictable. It wasn't as... In fact, I think the Tribal Council was pretty short. I didn't time it, but it seemed like it was short.
The whole show had, like, it was short pre-Tribal Council and it was short at Tribal Council.
Yes. Yes. But it seemed like we got a lot of different things going on before Tribal Council, trying to throw us in 100 different directions, but then Tribal Council was kind of cut and dry. I thought.
I'm upset because you have 6 players left in the D&D challenge between you and me, our challenge.
Yeah.
And I only have 4.
I think that's going to even out pretty soon.
And yeah, but your players like Carolyn are racking up the points.
And Joe and Mike.
Joe. Oh.
And Rodney gets about 1,200 confessionals every episode.
Well, that helps you as well. Ugh. Who do I have? I have Tyler, who every once in a while gets to say some big word like penultimate or something. I got Dan, where if I was getting points for misogynistic comments, I'd be raking them in.
What do you think happens when Dan tries to... No? I know. I'm with you. Well,
if I got a point for every time Dan made some horrible comment to a woman,
the score would be tied.
Yes, thank you.
At least tied. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, what were you asking me?
What do you think happens when Dan tries to come up with a way to talk to women? When he tries to access that part of his brain that says, "This is how you need to talk to a woman."
Like he picks up the phone and tries to connect to his brain?
Yes, like he's calling a friend. What do you think he gets on the other end?
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
That's what I think happens.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
So he just wings it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Well, that brings me to one of my initial thoughts, and here is a clip from the movie Interstellar.
We're going to be spending a lot of time together.
We should learn to talk.
Emma, not to. Just being honest.
I don't think you need to be that honest.
I don't think you need to be that honest. Listen to Matthew McConaughey. Not only can he look awfully serious while he's driving a Lincoln, He also has wise advice for the Danimal. You don't always have to be that honest.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Is that going to be the parody for Dan?
He is never gonna. He is never gonna talk to us again. On the flip side, all of his friends are probably having a blast laughing about it.
Yeah.
All right. Oh my goodness. So that was my one of my initial thoughts, and along with that was I want points for horrible comments like somebody needs to slap that woman.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any initial thoughts, David? Or are you trying to get your papers in order or something?
I've got 3. Well, I'm checking Twitter. I'm getting Twitter messages. I'm checking the chat wing, which has got a few folks in it, the chat room, and I've got my 3 initial reactions. My first one was overall it was an okay episode. Ho hum, had a couple big moments in it, but I so wish I could have watched this episode with you, because my notes could have just been scene 2, points for David. Scene 5,
Yes.
5 points for David. Scene 7, 3 points for David.
Dwayne
He's
throws the
taking
chair at the TV.
he's taking some of Dwayne's players on the reward. Oh, he's taking mine too, so it evens out. Plus, I get the reward
Yes.
win. 7 points for David.
Yes.
So I just,
Yeah.
and then, I just couldn't imagine. It was so much fun. I got 2 others, but how many do you got?
I only have 2 more. One is 4 is not higher than 7. Someone needs to tell Jen and Haley and Joe that, and Shireen.
Exactly.
Well, Dan tried to tell Shireen.
Yeah.
I mean, let's give Dan some props. He had a good point. You know, I mean, how many times do we complain about fans not realizing that 4 is not bigger than 7?
Yes. Absolutely.
So,
To answer your Dan comment, Rachel in the chat room said, actually, I could tell you the kind of response I'd like to give Dan when he's being a condescending bleep. But this is a clean podcast, so I'll abstain.
yes.
Thank you, Rachel.
Rachel is on Twitter, and I guarantee you she is going to be filtering much tonight as she chats. I like Rachel a lot.
My second initial reaction is a bold prediction.
All right.
Now, in my younger days, I watched wrestling, a wrestling fan, and I will admit, from time to time, I check in just to see how the story is going, because it's a soap opera. That's what it is. Yes?
You realize wrestling is fake.
It's a soap opera. That's what I just called it. So what they do in wrestling is they use their TV shows, their free cable channel shows, to build a story for a pay-per-view, which means money they make on top of cable. You know, you got to pay extra to watch the pay-per-views. So they build a story from week to week. And we are getting a story built that I think is going to culminate in a Clash of the Castaways type thing within the next few episodes.
Okay.
Each episode, bit by bit, we're getting these 2 people that are going to come to a head. And here's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be the Team Rodney versus Team Mike. I think these 2 are going to come to an episode, and it's just going to be them. And I think Mike is going to blindside Rodney either with an idol or in some case knock him out. But it just seems like every episode, right at the beginning, we got Rodney going after Mike. And it's like, what, like 3 episodes in a row, maybe more, where Rodney points out that Mike's the problem. But we never hear that after that.
Right.
So I don't think it's going to be Tyler's big move that's going to be the big thing this season, because I still think something big's coming. I think it's going to be Mike versus Rodney in some episode, and it's going to be like the big episode that turns the game around for one or the other.
Well, and to be fair, I was going to mention this later, but, you know, Rodney's not playing this stupidly. You know, I mean, he goes up to Will and he says, look, Mike's in control. Let's let him think he's in control, and then we're going to blindside him.
Right.
So, you know, he's being patient and sitting back and waiting.
That's a good point. Maybe he's just building. You know, every few days he's trying to build more and more. And he's got will. He seems to have will. So.
Yeah. So let's episode. What's wrong with you, David? That's from Jerson Pagan.
Okay. Well, you didn't remember how to pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to mess with it because
What?
I messed it up last time.
Is it Gerson? No, it's Gerson or Gerson or Jerson. What do you mean?
No, he told me one night how to pronounce his name, and I've already forgotten, so I'm not going to try and do it again because I messed it up pretty bad.
Well, hey, if you want to put it on the chat wing or the chat room or in Twitter phonetically, then I'll say it right.
I said it was ho-hum. It was an okay episode. It was good. There was a lot of parts in it that just seemed, you know, social drama. But the end for me was just kind of predictable, which kind of, whereas the Jen Idol and the Joaquin Blindside were just capped off great episodes, really good episodes. So this one was good.
They didn't throw you off with Sierra talking
No, in fact, I felt the whole episode was like trying to drop red herrings everywhere to think, because they never mentioned Haley except for the one time where they were sitting by the water. You know, it's
Right.
almost like it was an afterthought.
Right. My last initial thought, if Joe doesn't pick who you want him to pick, Jeff, just keep letting him pick.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Because as we all know, 5 is a round number.
Thank you.
That's called impromptu off the cuff that did not work.
It is round at the bottom half of the number, yes.
That is true.
But okay, Joe, you get 6 choices. Okay, those are your 6. Let's go one more. We'll leave one person at camp.
Yes. Okay.
My last initial reaction
Uh-huh.
is my weekly initial reaction that I still believe Will's decision to vote out Vince was a good idea.
Well, I'll be glad when you don't think that anymore.
Don't
Back at
count on it.
camp. Rodney, supposed to be Haley, but he changed it to Jen at the last minute. Now that's different than what they showed us last week.
Right.
Oh, Herson Pagan. Gerson is pronounced Herson.
Okay.
So I won't remember that next week, but I'll try to remember that next week. Sorry, Herson. But anyway, so that's not what they showed us last week. Or do you think he was just telling Will that?
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
See, we never got Will's confrontation with Mike over this because
Because Rodney took care of it.
exactly, and I think that was really smart. And I think it was smart if Will just said okay and was done with it and let it go. Then Will's playing a very good social game, which is about all we're seeing from Will because we're not seeing much of anything else.
Yeah. And again, Rodney, we're going to keep letting him run it. That's not a bad strategy. That's exactly what we'd be saying to people. You know, let them run it and then get them. But he keeps saying that he's got Mama C, and he's got who else does he say that he has?
Well, he had Kelly. Now he's got Tyler.
Oh, okay.
So it changes from vote to vote.
He keeps acting like he has them, which later on in the episode, Tyler does say that he wants to get rid of Dan and Mike.
Yes.
So we don't know why he didn't do it, unless he's already talked to Rodney, and this is all part of the plan. So what if the plan is Rodney and Will, Mama C and Tyler first take out the no-callers, and then take out Mike, Dan, and Sierra, and they're the final 4?
Yeah, that's what we talked about last week, which was kind of I thought was a decent idea, except this week now it's Tyler instead of Kelly. I think a reason not to go after Dan this week is because Blue Collar still has numbers.
Right.
And if they make the jump now, they can't necessarily trust the no-collars.
Right. Now, how awkward was the Mike and Jen moment? It was kind of it felt like he was trying too hard.
Unnecessary praise.
Yeah. And Jen's laying there going, yeah, okay, whatever. Can you just go back to your guys? We 4 are enjoying ourselves.
Yeah. We're sitting here. Haley, Joe, Shireen, and I are stoked. And I wrote about what? One move, and now you don't have an idol.
Yeah, really.
She said the no collars are back in town and ready to win.
Yeah.
Win what?
You don't have the numbers.
Is Jen playing a day-to-day game? I mean, is she not thinking long-term? I guess she's more optimistic that she can turn people.
Right.
You know.
Now, Shireen is a smart Survivor person. I mean, you know, she knows Survivor. So, and she told Dan later on, you know, you don't know what my plan is. But I can't figure out what her plan is. And if it was to get Sierra and Tyler, well, it just didn't work. So maybe that was her plan, and it just didn't work.
Yeah. I think she's going to be the one forced to move first if there's that opportunity. Because, yeah, I agree. I think she thought she had numbers with them. She was trusting in the no-collars, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah. By the way, my birthday's Saturday, April 11th.
Yes.
I'm turning 46.
You want me to send you a chicken?
I am over the halfway hump to 90. You realize there are people listening to this podcast going, what the heck? I'm listening to 2 old guys.
If you haven't figured that out by now, folks.
We shouldn't have told them I was 46. All right. But as you said, they're all 4 laying on the beach alone. So, anyway. All right, next morning. This was, you know, Rodney's kind of picking fights, it looks like.
Yeah, we thought that was Lindsay. We were kind of blaming her for that, and now we got Rodney just doing something to do something.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so apparently he doesn't like the fact that they're only doing 3 cups, and he wants more, and they're not going to do more, and so he goes to the salami. And was he peeling her salami?
He was peeling the skin off, I think, everyone's
All of
slice
them.
of salami.
Oh, okay,
Now,
that would annoy me too.
Do you think the 3-cup thing was, well, I didn't tell you how much to put in, so I'm going to tell you how much to put in. So don't take anyone else's word. You need to take my word. I'm going to tell you how many cups to put in. Even though we always put in 3 and you were told to put in 3, you should put in a little bit more.
Yeah, because I think he's trying to pick a fight.
I think I don't know if it's a male machoism thing or something that he's just trying to boss women around. I don't know. It just seemed weird. It just seemed like a useless thing to pick on.
Right.
You know,
right.
Like you said, though, maybe he is trying to pick a fight. Maybe that's his strategy. Maybe he's trying to make someone out to be another Lindsay. You know, if you get somebody riled up, you get a target on them, and people want to get rid of them to keep the camp calm. But
yeah,
it's just, I don't know. It's just salami. I wrote the quote down.
It's just salami.
And then he said, Shireen, the most pointless person in the game. She shouldn't even be here. I'm like, really? You're supposed to be on another reality show. How are you still here?
Yeah. At least she likes the show.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But on the flip side, he is smart enough to go off and punch a tree instead of letting it go too far at camp.
Right.
So you know,
my question is,
some props.
Does he know how far is?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't want to go too far before you have to go punch a tree. You want to stop short of far.
Right. But if Shireen is as annoying to everybody at camp as we are being led to believe, then Rodney messing with her won't really make Rodney look that bad to everybody else. It won't bother them as much. Whereas if he was picking on Carolyn, it would bother them more.
Because we didn't see anybody stand up for Shireen. So, like you said, you might be right that they're not bothered about it because they're kind of annoyed with Shireen on there.
Yes. All right.
By the way, you got a Twitter.
I know. I'll put it up in a second.
Oh, okay.
You're not supposed to be following Twitter.
It pops up whenever he tweets. It pops up on my phone for some reason.
Mike Holloway.
It's just a relationship we have. We're just.
Yeah. Mike Holloway was irritated at me this week because I predicted he was going home, and then he got all Team Cholera on me. And
he made you sick.
Yeah. So this is what he said. All right. Oh gosh. Why do I even Survivor Talk, David, STWDD. Happy early birthday to the captain of a sinking ship. Team Destrollers. Play on my name, which is Team Destroyers. Thank you, Mike.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Whatever. At least I didn't cry on Survivor.
Oh!
Of course, I didn't make it on Survivors.
Now you need to go punch a tree because I think you went a little far.
No, I didn't because he doesn't mess with him. But seriously, I mean, they really made it look like first they had him eat. Well, they didn't have him, but he decided, hey, I'll eat termites. Okay, I guess if you're not Pinocchio, that's a safe thing. And and then they show him looking really lightheaded, and they were kind of setting us up for him fainting or falling or something, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
All right, but I do want to say this. If someone was peeling my salami, I would be upset. I would, because I do exactly what Shireen does, and I'll take the peel off, and then I'll put it in there, and I'll...
It becomes like a Slim Jim. You want to get all the flavor and taste out of that thing? Absolutely.
Right.
I guess he's got salami etiquette. He just doesn't go for the skin.
Dan and Shireen. Oh, I'm sure he tweeted something else, didn't he? Oh, see, he laughed. All right. Reward challenge. Dan and Shireen can't stay balanced for poor Shireen, man. She rolled over on her back. Dan busted a leg. Oh, my goodness. Oh, but I thought Rodney fell on the black line. I thought Probst robbed him of that.
He was partially on but partially off, and I think the rule was you have to be completely past the line to drop your bag, so he was short of the bag. Okay. In fact, this was going to be one of my early questions. Can you name the 4 people that fell off and were not able to drop their bags before they had to go back and do it again? But I didn't use this one. I thought it was too easy. And you've just said 3 of them. Who was the 4th?
Who were the 3?
Dan, Shireen, and Rodney. All of those fell off the beam at some point. One other person fell off the beam.
I think Carolyn. No, wait. No, Sierra fell off.
No, it was Carolyn. And you wonder why you miss points on these questions. Think long, think wrong. Go with your first gut.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Dan and Shireen falling off. Joe, Mike, and Haley move on. And who wins their second challenge in a row?
That would be Team Cholera member Joe.
Joe. That's
Now,
right.
what did you like the challenge?
I wish they all would have had to make the puzzle.
I wish there would have been at least 3 rounds. Let
Yeah,
more people advance, because Sierra was right behind Haley. And I know there's other people right behind her. I think it was in Philippines when Pinner won. He had to win. I think that was a 3-round challenge. I might be wrong, but I just think it goes from what, 11? Was there 11 people or 10?
There were 11.
11 to 3 in one round. I didn't like that.
11 to 6, 6 to 3, or 11 to 7, 7 to 3.
But I did like that the puzzle was hard enough that even if you did it one way, you might have to change half the puzzle to get it working again. Because Joe seemed like he was about done, and he had to change the whole thing up.
Yeah, right.
And I also like Mike's response to Probst. He says, "Mike, falling out of the challenge." Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I didn't use that quote in my challenge to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You've probably picked out a lot of one-word
Yeah.
quotes there.
Kelly Wentworth says on Twitter, "Happy early birthday to my favorite Survivor Talk quiz partner." No tears. See? There you go.
It doesn't
Say what
lessen
you
it.
want.
It doesn't lessen it when you think about you've been her only Survivor quiz partner. But
Shut up. Shut up. It's like in the movie Arthur when they're sitting at the table and he goes, "You're the most beautiful woman at this table." All right. Let's see. Joe wins reward. Tyler, he takes Tyler, Will, and Mama C. Obvious choices.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he pick Shireen? What was he thinking?
I almost wonder if Jeff said, "All right, we're going to give you one more. If you guys want to make a case for why he should pick you, make it now." And when it was her turn, she said, "I'm a super fan. I'm a super fan like you," or something. Because as Dan chimed in, "I'm a super fan." It just kind of like a blurted out thing, and then when she reacted the way she did, he said, "That's why. That's why I picked her."
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean,
all right.
I don't know. Maybe. See, I don't think necessarily. I do think he was going for the swing votes, obviously, but I just don't think he's as tight with the no-collars as the no-collars think he is, because
really?
I'll mention later that he just does some things that aren't necessarily no-collar solidified.
But he hasn't exactly shown himself to be, Mr. Strategy Man.
No, we're not getting that at all.
Or Mr. Social Player. He's just kind of there and doing well.
Exactly. It's almost like he realizes the only way he's going to get through is on his own, because he knows he doesn't have the numbers.
Right.
So he must not be a super fan, because he knows math.
All right, ziplining. That looked fun.
All right, this was going to be your first question.
Oh, this is a question?
This was your first challenge question, yes.
All right, here we go.
And it was going to be worth 2.5 points total.
Well, okay, I tell you what, just for tonight, we'll challenge each other tonight. So you can go ahead and keep track of points.
Okay.
All right, and
All
you
right.
can tell me how many points.
Name the order by person in which we saw the 5 reward challenge partakers ride the skyline.
All right, Joe.
Yep.
Carolyn.
Yep.
Shireen.
Okay.
Will, Tyler.
All right, you got Shireen and Tyler backwards because Shireen was last. So you got 1.5 points out of that.
Woo!
Yep.
All right. All right, now where were we?
We were on the reward. We just did the zip line.
Oh, yeah, zip lining. Shireen doesn't want Carolyn to enjoy pizza. Okay. Apparently Shireen does not like... Oh, yeah, we know Carolyn and Shireen do not get along.
No, they don't seem to.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why Shireen went so hardcore to the no-collars, because she wanted to be in a group, and she didn't want to be with Carolyn. We talked earlier today about, whether that 5th person was planned or not, or whether Probst just wanted to make it a little more even and give people a chance to start switching up teams. So I went back and looked at the reward, and there were 4 pizzas for 5 people. There were 8 cinnamon buns, which divided by 2 is 4 for 5 people. Plenty of watermelon, but there were 5 drinks, which they could have added a 5th drink anyway.
Right.
So I just wonder if Probst, that was a little ad lib to throw that 5th person in there.
That's what I think. I absolutely think that. Absolutely. I think, in all honesty, that he didn't like that he wanted there to be more controversy going on, so he wanted another person.
Yeah. I also wonder if they talked about pre-challenge, the no-collars, what they would do if one of them won, and it sure didn't seem like it.
No.
Jen was not acting like she knew that he was going to pick people other than her.
Right. All right, so how in the world does Carolyn not feel that clue in that bottle? I mean, surely, if I pick up a bottle and there's something in it, aren't I going to feel it moving around in there?
I would think you'd look at those stuff anyway. I mean, you wouldn't pick a bottle that you didn't pick out yourself or make yourself and then not happen to maybe glance in the bottle. That was kind of noticeable.
Golly. And then poor Joe about choked himself to death, gagged himself to death.
I know. It was a little bit longer than I think
was
you thought it was.
Dude! Unless you've done that before, you better chill out. That is going to choke you in a bad way. And Tyler's just sitting there looking at him like, you're kidding me, right?
Exactly. That's the look he had.
Yeah.
Tyler is one of the most observant people. He just sees everything, and this is what excites me about if he does get to make this big move, that he's just waiting for the right moment. And if he times it right, it could send him and Carolyn to the final. But I mean, it's funny because Joe's doing everything he can to be so secretive, and Tyler's just looking at him because he doesn't trust anybody, and anything that happens, he's going to watch. And he's looked at him like, really? Is that how you tried to hide that clue?
I love what he says. Yeah, had to have that last Coke, didn't you? We'll have to talk about that later.
Yeah, you're going to get scolded for that.
Yeah.
Joe's just shaking his head. Oh, busted.
He's like, crap. And the thing is, Joe doesn't know how to handle it. Joe, I mean, I'm not trying to rag on Joe, but he's not, Mr. Strategy. So, he just...
What should he have done different?
Well, he should have talked to him before the next morning, I think.
Yeah, it appeared that he waited until, well, we don't, I mean, he could have, but it appeared that he didn't show anything or say anything until the next morning when he pulled him aside to go wash dishes in the middle of the night.
Right. Well, twilight. So.
Yeah.
All right, back at camp, Mike worried about Joe and Tyler going off by themselves, and Joe reads the clue to Tyler, and Tyler tells Mike the entire clue. There was a moment there where Tyler looked like he wasn't quite sure if he wanted to tell Mike.
His look was so sketchy that if I was Mike, I would almost think what he was telling me was not true. Tyler's look was so hesitant, like you said, about telling him, and then he pretty much told him the key words in every phrase. Sea of green, by a river, in a tree hollow. Right. And I'm like, wow, he is really telling him everything.
Yeah, and that clue was a pretty good clue.
Yeah. And what did it say, off the ground or something like that? So yeah, that was a good clue.
Yeah. So here's a tweet. Kelly Wentworth, Survivor. This is from Mike Holloway again. Kelly Wentworth, Survivor Talk. 2 past survivors watching the Beauty and the Beast. I think he's saying he's the Beast and Kelly's the Beauty.
Oh, I thought he was talking about us for a minute. Okay, good.
I don't think so. And then her son says the brand of drink is Fresca, which means fresh. So I guess it was a fresh clue. I've had Fresca before. Good stuff. Have you ever had Fresca?
I think I've tried it before.
Yeah.
I don't recall how great it was, though.
Yeah. All right, so near the river, sea of green, defying gravity in a hollow, mad hunt for Joe. Boy, they are looking all over the place for Joe.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. It was a manhunt. It reminded me of the Spencer hunt last time in Cagayan.
Yeah.
When he took off, and all of a sudden the whole camp took off after him. Everybody was doing it, but they weren't looking for the idol. They were just looking for Joe.
Right. Well, my comment is, no need to worry. What are you doing? Because you didn't even pay attention to me.
No need to worry. Why not? Because Joe's not going to find it?
Because it's Joe. If it was a challenge, you need to worry, but he's not going to find the idol.
He wasn't even near a tree,
No.
was he? He was like standing out in the open,
Yeah.
looking for the sea of green.
Yes. So anyway, strategy. Here's Mike's strategy. I'm going to act like I saw Joe get the idol. Then I'm going to go look for it myself. Did you like that strategy?
I love that strategy. And you know why? Because Joe laughed it off just like Mike did. Because when they got close, Mike pretty much admitted, hey, I got to call you out, man, because I know what you were doing. And whether you have it or not, I got to call you out to pretend that you have it.
Right.
Because it puts it on you. And what could Joe say? I don't think so. I bet you got it. And Mike would say, check me. You can look at all my stuff and all my bags, and I've got no idol. Because he didn't at the time.
But Joe could have said that too.
Exactly.
And Joe could have turned it around on him and said, you're just trying to get all the attention on me so you can go look for it.
But Joe had the clue. And Joe went looking for it. You know, everybody's on Mike's team in that little group, so who are they going to leave? You know?
Yeah. All right, so Joe does tell Haley, but he says, if I just lay back, it's like I have it. What?
This is where Joe was sketchy with the no collars. Well, he's saying that if they really think I have it, then maybe if I laid back, they'd really, if they're gonna accuse me of it, why don't I just play along like I do have it? So I'll lay back and be all confident, so then they won't vote for me, and we can use that. Well, if you're gonna lay back and be all confident, why would you push so hard in the immunity challenge? Why wouldn't you let Haley or Jen win? That was my thought. That's Joe playing for Joe. That's why Joe, to me, is not as solid with the no-collars as the no-collars think he is. If you're going to lay back and play confident, why are you pushing so hard in the challenge? Let Haley or Jen win.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that.
Why?
Well, because I think even if I had the idol, I'm still going to play hard to win immunity, especially when they already know I'm a challenge threat. So why go back and then risk it?
Well, I would agree that I would play hard, but I mean, to me, he didn't sell the fact that he's still working with the no collars. I just don't think that bond is there. Even okay. Jen says later that she's not happy with Joe. I think it was a extra scene or something on CBS.
Yeah.
She's just not happy with because he's not really talking to him.
All right. Before we get to Dan and Shireen, Christopher on Twitter says, getting mad because he peeled the salami, going back to the Shireen and Rodney clip, getting mad because he peeled the salami was dumb. He said he was peeling it for himself, too. But did he say he was peeling it just for himself? Or
for he and Tyler.
Oh, okay.
He and Tyler wanted theirs peeled, so he was peeling it. But like Shireen was saying, I want every taste and every morsel I can get out of it, so leave mine alone.
Right. All right, so here we have Dan and Shireen.
All right, before you get to that, Bethany wrote in the chat room.
Yes.
She wrote, I wrote an email to D&D today regarding last night's episode, and then I had to delete it because I remembered what my grandmother always told me. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. I just can't deal with some of these players after last night's episode, Dan being first on my list.
Oh, there you go.
Now, Bethany, what my grandmother said was, if you don't have anything nice to say about somebody, make sure they're out of the room. So that's Bethany's take probably on what we're about to hear.
Oh, man. All right, so Dan does have at least a good thought here.
Okay, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I don't know where you're going, but I don't know what
why can't fans do basic math? I think he's right that Shireen is on the small side of the numbers, and why? Why are you making that mistake?
I think Shireen is under the impression that she's about to be part of a flip where Tyler and Carolyn are coming over. I don't think she sees herself on the small numbers at that point in the game. We hadn't gotten to the vote yet.
Right.
So I think she felt that they were about to pull a flip. And
that's not my point. My point is, from Dan's perspective, he's making a good point. From his perspective,
yes.
We have 7, you have 4. Why are you with your 4? And she's saying, because she thinks she has more than 4, she's saying to him, you don't know my plan.
Right, so your math doesn't work because your 7 is not 7. I think, is what I'm getting at. Right.
And then he gets to saying all the other stuff. Your game is done. You're one of Joe's minions. Another fan who can't do basic math.
And she's an easy mark because she's with Joe because he's going to win, so he's not going to share an idol with her.
Right. So I decided to play a little game. Things not to say on TV.
Uh-oh.
Someone just slapped this woman. For the love of God, slap her and shut her up already. Dear God in heaven, do us all a favor.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
David.
That's the Dan soundbite.
I mean, that was in a confessional. He had to know that was going to be. Okay, this is what happened.
Hey, Dan, we're not going to record this. Just give us something crazy.
Yeah. This is what happened. He dialed first and got that message. And then he went and looked around the bushes for other answers. And there was nothing there either. Dan! Woo! What is the point? Dan, why are you doing this, Dan? I mean, okay, now not even talking about the confessional anymore. But why is he doing this with Shireen? He's not bringing her in. He's not like saying, come on over with us or anything. He's just telling her you're an idiot.
See, as a super fan, he should know that he's talking to a possible jury member. Why would he go this? I mean, I don't understand it. I'm completely with you. I was so hoping that we were about to get a super fan strategy session.
Yeah.
That these two were actually going to start talking and say, hey, no one would ever suspect you and I working together.
Right.
Instead, he lists off why she's bad at Survivor.
Yeah. Yes,
You know?
because he didn't learn when he did it to Sierra.
So what does Shireen do? She acts like a smart player and
Yes,
lets
she
him
does.
say everything he wants to say.
Yeah.
Just smile and nod. Just smile and nod. I guess you're just not seeing my game. You don't have a game. You are done. You are finished. Well, that's your opinion, and you have that right to your opinion. And I applaud her for coming off the way she did because I think it almost egged him on to keep going because she wasn't seeing what he wanted her to see.
Right.
And she was seeing past what he was doing. But I loved it when he said there's only two people in this game. Those who do too little and get voted out for it, and those who do too much, annoy everyone, and get voted out for that. Well, I would disagree with that math because there has to be a third because somebody's got to win.
Yeah, exactly. Again, fans who can't do math.
Yes, yes.
So I thought about it. You know how earlier on in the season we would get on the air and I would act like one of the players and do to you what they did to somebody on the show, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't even do that with this because it's just mean. I mean, I would have to say mean things and then say, "Hey, I'm actually just trying to be nice." You know, I couldn't even do that. But
Yeah.
I did go find a song that I think may be Dan's song.
Mhm.
All right. So, and you may not understand the words. It's called "A Man Needs a Maid."
I was thinking that maybe I'd get a maid, find a place nearby for her to stay. Just someone to keep my house clean, fix my meals and go away.
I just need somebody to come over, keep my house clean, get my meals done, and leave.
Is that
That's-
Dan?
Yeah.
Is Dan or Rodney? I don't know if Rodney's too.
Yeah, that's probably Rodney too. A man needs a maid. I think that's Neil Diamond or somebody. I don't know what his name is.
No, Neil Young. I think.
Neil Young? Okay, Neil Young. Yeah, that was from
It's definitely not Neil Diamond. No.
Neil Young. Oh, YouTube will probably tag that, and I'll have to have ads on this. I hate that. All right, day 21. Why is no one asking where Mike is? Why does Mike get to look for the idol, quote unquote, all day long, and no one freaks out about it? Where is no caller? What is Joe thinking?
That's a good question. Very good question. It could have been on a different day. I mean, we found out from Tony that when he found the idol, it wasn't around the time where he walked up and met those folks in the water and started talking about it. So, I mean, this could have been the same day that he went looking for Joe, and found him out there looking for it. So they just titled it Day 22.
No, they titled it Day 21. We're still at Day 21.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It is Day 21.
Yeah. This is when he eats termites. He finds the idol and does the happy dance. Never seen that dance before.
Then you haven't watched Survivor with me when Team Cholera finds an idol.
Oh.
So that's when I saw the chair flying through the room.
And what does Mike say when he finds it? Is he going to share it, David?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
This is his one chance to be safe and play the game his way.
Yeah, I got to get me a different chair, David. This chair is so blasted uncomfortable.
Yeah, because you are not sitting still whatsoever.
I'm not. I wish I could stand up, but I can't. What I want is one of those kneeling chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but anyway. All right, day 22. It's time for the immunity challenge. It is a puzzle. So obviously, Shireen, with her job and all, ought to rock this. I don't know what her job has to do with being able to.
You think maybe she does puzzles at work all day?
I don't think so.
Good answer.
But Jeff just created an awkward moment. It's almost like he was trying to mess with her, but it went over her head, and she was just having too much fun, and he ended up looking silly.
It made me wonder if he asked multiple people questions like this, and we just never see it. If they're just waiting for the right moment, because he was going to explode, and she was saying got to keep it in, like implode, and I'm thinking Seinfeld moment, export, import, and I'm like, where's implode? Come on, explode, implode, one or the other.
All right, my thought. First part of this puzzle ought to be really easy, but apparently Rodney and Haley having a little difficult time with it. They struggled.
Yes.
And I love it. Jeff's like, you will know when you have it. I got it! Sorry, Dan. No, you don't. A couple seconds later, I got it! Sorry, Dan. No, you don't. Dan must read Greek or something, because that was not English.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I'm like, oh. And the first time he went up, I'm thinking, wow, who had Dan winning this challenge? Oh,
yeah.
Apparently not Probst.
Yeah.
Because some of those letters, you're right, we're going in the wrong direction.
Dan was looking at it going, it's red, yellow, and blue. What's the problem? You're wrong, Probst.
Felt bad.
Oh, well, Joe wins. Third straight individual win.
Amazing.
And, of course, this is Mike's fault. If Rodney had been able to get out, if Rodney had been able to keep Joaquin, unlike what Mike said, none of this would have happened.
Just another lead-in to that Clash of the Castaways coming up.
All in all, it's just another brick in the wall. Boom, boom. All right, back at camp.
Shireen says, I'm not too concerned. And I said, no! That's not what you say before tribal council.
Dan says, if all the camps have an idol, where is White Collar's idol?
Where has that question been for 8 episodes, or 6 episodes, or 3 episodes? Exactly. I thought that was the best question of the whole episode.
Yeah. And I'm wondering why they aren't debating Jen. Why are they saying Haley and Shireen? What happened to Jen? Don't they want Jen gone?
That's what I thought they would have done. That's why I even said that Mike or Joe wins and Haley and Jen goes home. Yeah. I don't see why they wouldn't go after her again.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, well. So the 4 girls are talking. Shireen telling about Dan's conversation, and they decide to get rid of Dan. Anything that you want to say about those 4 ladies talking?
No, I wasn't buying it. Sierra's a good actress, but I wasn't buying it.
Okay. All right, Shireen tries to get Tyler to go along with them. That doesn't work. Would that have been a smart move?
I guess we'll never know, but I like Tyler's response is that I want to put a target on Mike and Dan, but I got to do it before they know it's going to be coming. So as long as there's no collars there, it may not be time to do it just yet.
Right.
But once the no collars are gone, like you said at the beginning, if he's got Rodney and Carolyn and possibly Will, then that would be 4 against the 3 remaining blue collars.
Yeah. All right. Tribal Council. Not a whole lot at Tribal Council.
I wrote down nothing, but here's what I did write down. I wrote down a challenge question for you. You ready?
Yes.
Probst addressed 5 people by name.
At Tribal Council?
At Tribal Council. Who were those 5 people?
Probst named 5 people.
He asked 5 people a question. Who were those 5 people?
Tyler.
Yes.
Trying to remember Tribal Council. Tyler. Haley.
Yes. She was last. Yep. So who were the 3 in the middle? Because Tyler was first.
Mike.
Yes. 2 more.
Sierra.
1 more.
Joe.
Oh.
I meant Jennifer.
Oh.
I meant Rodney.
Dan. He talked to Dan about flippers.
All right.
You know, when you want to swim, you need your flippers.
All right. Well, I got how many of those points? 4?
You got two. That was 2.5, half point each, so you got 2 of them.
All right. All right. So when are people going to start saying 155,000% or 105%? 100% is all there is. There is no more. Stop doing it.
I
people.
completely agree. I do not say that with my teams. I stop at 100% because if you give more than that, you're going to fall dead.
Yes.
Sorry. Rachel has a great comment in our chat room. She thinks that Survivor showed Dan's puzzle mistakes as karma for him being a patronizing jerk. I think I can use that word.
Karma.
Karma?
All right. Dan, flippers never win. Shireen completely disagrees. And then Haley, I loved it. Hey, we're Tribe America. And what if the colonists had never flipped?
We're the original flippers.
Yeah, that's right.
Our ancestors, except for Shireen's, are flippers. I guess 'cause she's Greek.
Oh, man. All right, time to vote. Haley goes home. Haley was genuinely surprised. They really thought they had Sierra, and they thought they had it going, but they did not. So, all right. That is the recap of the show.
I had hold
Yes.
on.
All right,
You've got 3 final questions.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, you got 2 more. 2 more. And these are going to be guessing, but you should know. For 1 point, who had the second most confessionals in episode 8?
Dude, I don't know.
Take a guess. Who do you think had the most?
Who do I think had the most? Hold on, I'm trying to get my screen set up here. Who had the most? I don't have any idea.
It was Mike. Mike had the most.
Well, yeah, I guess that would make sense. Oh, Will. Will had nothing. No, did they ever talk to Will?
I said
No.
the second most, not the 0. Oh, but you're right. Will had 0.
The
That's
second.
Yeah, who had the second most?
Oh, the second most.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if Mike had the most, then the next one would have been Joe.
No. Silent Joe? No. It was Rodney.
Okay.
So here's the other question. 4 castaways had 1 or less confessional this episode, which actually surprised me. 4, and you got 1 that's Will. Who are the other 3?
Oh, Haley.
Yep.
Carolyn.
Yep.
And Jen. Did we get a lot of Jen tonight?
Actually, I take that back. Will had 0, and there were 4 with 1 confessional. You got Carolyn, Haley, and Jen. There's 1 more that only had 1 confessional.
Oh.
Exactly. You got it.
Joe.
No.
No,
You
Dan.
did that on purpose.
It's Dan.
No, it's
No.
not Dan.
Who is it?
It's
Who is it?
Sierra.
Oh, okay.
You forgot she was still in the game, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
You would pretty much have caught back up in the score.
Dude, I'm telling you, these
such a
whole
gentleman.
challenges things are not my forte at all.
Sorry, wait till mine comes up later. It won't be mine either.
Yeah. All right, listener feedback. First, we have Tina, who every week she writes in is from somewhere else. So, Tina from everywhere. Really enjoyed this episode, and after watching it, I began to feel sorry for 2 women in particular. No, not Shireen and Sierra, but Rodney's future angel wife and Dan's current wife, who has probably gone postal after being married to him for some 20 years. To watch these 2 blue-collar guys insult others and behave grandiose towards other players makes me feel like America is a just place for reality television, because as I said before, blue-collar is overrated in America. Dan in particular reminds me as a nerdy guy trying to be cool. Dan, it will never happen. You're a postal worker who is not allowed to drive the mail trucks. You are a nerd, and you should embrace your nerdy side. You will never be one of the cool guys. Wow, the gloves are off with Tina tonight. At least Shireen realizes she is a nerd and embraces her nerdiness. That embrace got her a free pizza meal. You, on the other hand, try to compare yourself to Mike. Come on, man. You said you have spoken to more girls than Mike. That may be true, but I am pretty sure that most of the girls you have spoken to at the post office did not like you. You remind me of a man that has too many cats, and when people visit you at your house, they like your cats more than you. Wow. I'm feeling bad for my cricket things now. Rodney, on the other hand, is not doing any better at representing the blue-collar folks. For a guy who wants to be all man, he sure spends a lot of time acting like a woman. Earlier in the season, he was feeling faint, and now, episode after episode, he complains about Mike's decision to vote out Joaquin over Joe. I realize Joaquin was your bromance, and you miss him dearly, because clearly none of the women on Survivor 30 have given you a second look. You said you have been burned by women before. I would consider you take a closer look at the type of women you attract for your Sunday fun days. Winning $1 million will not make your personality any more attractive. Thanks, Dwayne and David, from your traveling friend, Tina. Wow.
That was good.
The views expressed by our guests do not particularly... That was rough, Tina. That was rough. All right, David.
This is from Bob from North Carolina.
Bob.
Dear Dwayne and David, thanks for producing such a great podcast. Here are a couple thoughts on last night's episode. Number one, does Rodney even realize that he mangles words and phrases on a regular basis? He again states that he wanted to be cool, calm, and collective after getting mad about the food situation. Does he even realize that the proper word is collective? Oh, he says collective, and Bob's pointing out that it's collected. Then when he tried to describe Joe using the word prototypically, Rodney said proctotypically. Somebody getting an exam or something from there?
Oh, man.
Wasn't Rodney most proud of graduating from college in his pregame video? Was English a required course at that college? And before I go into his next point, what's with nobody knowing Shireen's name? I mean, we're at day 3 weeks now, and they're just not using her name. And at one point, he did use her name at the beginning of the episode because he talked to Will about Shireen. Right. And all of a sudden, he doesn't know her name anymore. And I find it hard to believe that Dan doesn't know her name. But anyway, moving on to Bob's point number 2. Mike found an idol, but wasn't that the original idol placed at the blue collar camp? I think it was. Do you think it was?
Yeah, well, I guess it would be, yeah.
Yeah, I would think so too. It was in a weird-looking tree like the idols found near the white-collar camp and the no-collar camp, but didn't really seem to be in a location as described by Joe's idol clue. The idol clue stated that the idol was near tributaries, green, and in a hollow off the ground. I do not think there were any tributaries or greenery near where Mike found the idol, but it was off the ground. I wonder if that's because we just got such a close-up of when he reached in and pulled it out of that tree.
Probably so. Yeah.
I am wondering whether this was the original blue-collar idol and not a replacement idol for the idol played by Jen. If it was the original blue-collar idol, I am wondering whether anyone keeps looking for the replacement idol in the location described by Joe's idol clue that both Joe and Tyler have read because Mike does not intend to tell anyone about finding an idol. That's a good point. Because we obviously never saw the clue from blue-collar camp because they didn't read it. Do you think they'd put Jen's idol back in place with 2 other idols out there?
Yes, I do think they would do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for your excellent Survivor podcast, especially for David's extraordinary insight and correct answers to Miko's challenges. And I did not add that. That was from Bob from Waxhaw, North Carolina.
Bob says, especially for David's extraordinary insight. Well, you know what, Bob? I have to agree with you. Seriously, I do. We complement each other well.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. All right, next we have Andy from Missouri. Here we go. Here are my various thoughts, questions, and musings for the most recent episode. Number 1, props to the editors on this episode. They somehow took a boot that should have been pretty predictable going into the episode. It was likely to be Joe, Jen, or Haley, right? And were able to make it suspenseful and even surprising. Well, you would disagree with that, wouldn't you, David?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think it was. I thought it was kind of telegraphed.
That's all right. But that's because you're extraordinary.
But I still enjoyed it immensely, insightfully. Yes.
Yeah. See, we normal people, We didn't catch that as quickly as you did.
Well, if you could do math, you would have caught it.
Until about 10 minutes left, I didn't have a clue of who the targets were even going to be. Well done. Number 2. Arguably, the biggest move of the night was Mike's idol bluff. Though it didn't necessarily work out the way Mike had intended, it was effective nonetheless, at least in the short term. It seemed that the goal was to put pressure on Joe and to keep the target on his back by making others believe he had the idol, which seems pretty unnecessary, as Joe seemed to already be seen as the biggest threat. Ultimately, he benefited, as it made Joe comfortable and took him off the idol hunt, giving more space to Mike to do the same. Meanwhile, there still may be some that believe that Joe does have the idol, which does effectively put the target on his back, but may also have unintended negative consequences of people being unwilling to vote for Joe, or his alliance, for fear of the idol being played. Naturally, we'll see how it plays out in the long term, but in the short term, we see that a little bit of theatrics can go a long way, and he pulled it off well. Good work, Mike.
All right, this brings up a point that we didn't really talk about, but Tyler makes the case that there's no way Shireen has the idol for the white collars, because she was still hard at work trying to find that idol before they left that camp the final time for the merge.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the bad thing about saying that maybe she does have it? Because it would certainly throw off them thinking about Carolyn or Tyler having it.
Yeah.
He went out of his way to say she does not have the idol. And I would think that somebody would catch on to say, well, you're pretty adamant. Maybe one of you has the idol. So
Yeah.
I don't think what would have been the harm of saying, you know what, Mike's probably right, Shireen might have an idol.
Right. All right, number 3. I found Joe's response to this to be quite curious. Though he looked a little confused when physically accosted by Mike in the water, it did not seem that he was fighting the assumptions of him having the idol very hard, if at all. Though it would be a challenge to prove he does not have the idol, a little more effort would have made it more convincing. I fear that Joe truly has become Ozzy 2.0. He is obviously quite good at the challenges, quite athletic, and is very laid back and easygoing. Though he seems more strategically aware than young Ozzy, he tends to fall frequently onto a path of least resistance route. How often do we see him strategizing or talking to others outside his alliance, trying to bring them in? Even with the reward challenge, he was strategically aware enough to pick the right group for the reward and to notice and obtain the idol clue. However, where was the follow-through after that? Where was the talk of eliminating the great threat that is Mike, or the great annoyance that is Dan? Those would have been easy arguments to make, but that didn't happen. It seems to me that once he wins that immunity, he just checks out of the game rather than using it as a leverage to plan out his future steps. He's so close to being great, but seems to lack that killer's edge, which is disappointing. Yep. Number 4. This is just a question. Why Haley instead of Jen? Agreed.
Yep.
They voted for Jen last time and now switched it. Why the change of heart? I found that curious. What if, David, they didn't show this, but they realized that Jen without Haley is no one? In other words, like they preview next week, she's like her best buddy's gone.
I thought about that too, because Haley at times seemed a little more grounded, more willing to talk, whereas Jen just seemed to play off her idol play and not worry about didn't seem to worry about the next day.
Yeah.
I think they got the right person in sending out Haley, because Haley might have been the glue that held Jen and Joe together.
Yeah. Number 5, I continue to love watching Tyler's low-key game. What I love about it is how he is always gathering information and picks his more assertive moments carefully. Tyler has frequently found himself on the wrong side of the numbers this season, which I think has inhibited him from playing more aggressively. More so, I think he is merely playing a style that suits his personality, rather than trying to force himself to play the way he believes others think or want him to play. This is very savvy of him, and I hope he will continue to do so. Number 6. Another question I've been wondering is, what fate for Joe would be the best case scenario for Mike? Should Mike vote him out at the first chance? Should he hope that Joe sticks around for a while to deflect attention from Mike? I think this will be a tricky balance for Mike, the response to which very well could define Mike's season. That's all for now. Andy Westover from Cameron, Missouri. Good job.
I think one of Mike's great strengths in this game is his ability to be disarming, because even when he went after Joe, they both laughed. And then once he got close to Joe, he admitted, hey, I got to play it up, man. I got to play it up. They still laughed. They still high-fived and hugged.
Right.
And to me, that's, I don't know, it's harder to go after somebody that you're so comfortable around. And I think Mike is grown into that. He's not bossing everybody around to get jobs done around camp. He's
Right.
just part of the group. He's laughing and playing along. And this was before he found the idol, that he was still making this play, and then they were still laughing about it. He just seems disarming. So that's kind of a social charm that he's got.
Yep. All right, David, you got the next one.
Werner from South Africa. How's it Survivor Machines, by the way? Bring on Terminator Genesis and take it all the way to movie feedback with D&D, okay? I am all for that.
I am all for that. As soon as it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray, we will do it.
Back to Survivor. Dwayne, Dave, and audience. We have two great players here, Joe and Mike. Great showdown. We will see some other players come through stronger as time goes on. For now, here's why I believe these two are legit players. One, Joe. Joe really chose all the right players to join on the reward. Great picking with the survivor mind and not your heart. And he really handled the situation brilliantly with the idol when he spotted it in Carolyn's soda. Well played, stunning moment. But Joe, you will really have to make another alliance or you're gone if you don't win immunity next week. Number two, Mike. Mike is running his alliance well. I will call them Mike and the Mechanic for now. Rough around the edges, but they get the job done. Way to go on the idol bluff on Joe. I thought it was great that he planted the seed that the idol was with Joe. For one reason only, everyone sees to look for the idol, including Joe and Mike. Went ahead, but in the hard work and found it. Great play, buddy. So I think he's pointing out that did I freeze or did you freeze?
I didn't freeze. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. He's making a good point that
Go
by
ahead.
Mike saying that, everybody kind of stops looking for the idol because they're going to believe that Joe probably has the idol.
Yeah.
So then Mike goes and finds it, and he's by himself. Here's a couple loose thoughts from Werner. I can see Haley leaving Tribal singing, looking back over my shoulder. I can see that look in your eyes. I never dreamed it would be over. Well, Haley, you're dreaming with Mike and the Mechanics, and they are whistling all the way back to camp. And that song you can find on YouTube from Mike and the Mechanics, and it's sung by Phil Carrick, the lead singer of Mike and the Mechanics.
Well, why don't you sing it, David?
Because I don't know it. I'd never heard of it, so I went and looked it up. Mike Rutherford, who used to be in Genesis, Phil Collins, and he went and did his own group, Mike and the Mechanics, which I do
I
like.
like Mike and the Mechanics.
I
There
do
was
too,
one
but-
song I absolutely loved, and I don't remember what it was, and now I've got to have to go find it.
I've got their CD, and I don't recall any of them online, but I loved it because I like Phil Carrick. I liked him so much, I went and bought his CD.
Yeah.
So, and then Verna says, Dan, couldn't believe that conversation you had with Shireen. Were you for real? Wow, next level hurtful. I felt bad for Shireen. Bye, everyone. Thanks for the great show.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. We have one last feedback, and it is an audio feedback from Will the Giant Ninja.
What's up, guys? It's Will from Wonder Lake again, a.k.a. the Giant Ninja. Well, all week long in the Facebook group, David has been telling us that it's Dwayne's birth week. Happy birth week, Dwayne. But did you guys know that today is the birthday of one of your biggest fans, the Iceman, Sindri, from Iceland? Happy birthday, Sindri. Or rather, it's probably Sunday there by now, so happy birthday a few days ago. On to my feedback. Great, great Survivor episode this week. Number one, Joe's choice. Joe, you made the perfect choice and who to bring on the reward trip with you. Every year we see people bringing the wrong people and, more importantly, leaving the wrong people back at camp to strategize against them. This time, Joe did it perfectly. He brought Carolyn and Tyler, the two people that he needed to flip in order to get the numbers. He could bring another person, so he brought Other Will, the person who flipped against him, to try and bring him back into the fold. And he was given then the chance to bring one more person, and rather than choosing between Jen and Haley, which would have alienated the other one, he chose Shireen to cement her in his group. Well done, Joe. Number two, in a secret scene, which I know is not canon, but is put out by CBS, so I think it's fair game, Jen was mad. She was angry that she didn't get taken to eat pizza. Jen, you're still my pick to win, but that doesn't bode well for you, that you can't see that Joe is trying to bring people into your group to get the numbers. You need to think bigger. Number 3, speaking of thinking bigger, Carolyn and Shireen hate each other. And I mean hate each other. I was sure last week that the reason that Carolyn and Tyler went with the blue collars is because Carolyn was tight with Kelly. Now I'm thinking it might be just to get away from Shireen, who was mad that Carolyn was on the trip with her. Everybody in this game needs to think about numbers more. Shireen, you need Carolyn, even if you don't like her. Number 4, Carolyn. Next time you're drinking a bottle of soda, at least in a Survivor reward trip, check the bottle before you choke on rolled up paper. Number 5, that idle clue had an interesting story to tell, huh? First, Carolyn doesn't see it. Then Joe does see it and says, oh, I could use some more soda. Then Tyler sees Joe try and get it out of the bottle. Then Joe shares the clue with Tyler, and Mike sees Joe share the clue with Tyler. That whole thing was just wonderful to watch. Number 6, Mike and Tyler talking about the idle clue was awesome. Or rather, Tyler telling Mike all about it without Mike having to say anything. Well done, Mike. Sometimes you get the most done by saying nothing. Number 7, while Mike's looking for the clue, he's eating termites. I know you're working hard, Mike, and I know you need protein, but when there's salami back at camp, so much salami that people are literally fighting about whether to cut the skin off before you slice it or after, you probably don't need to eat more bugs. You don't want to get sick again. Watch out for scorpions. Number 8, hashtag happy dance. I was not upset that the editors let me know that Mike was going to find the idol. Not at all. The music was building. He was giving us the voiceover. It was a wonderful scene, and I was happy for Mike. Sometimes it's okay that they tell us exactly where the story is going. This was a great, great moment for Mike, who really is looking more and more like a potential winner. Unlike number 9, just being nice Danimal. Dan, you know I love you, brother. I love you, and I've been rooting for you. But if telling Shireen that her game is dead, and she's just a number, and nobody likes her, and she has no chance, is you being nice? Man, what's you being mean? You're floating in the water with her, and you just rip into her. And if I recall correctly, you were also floating in the water when you decided to share with one of your castmates that they needed to shut their mouth, open their eyes, and watch what happens. Maybe for the sake of your social game, you should stay out of the water. Just saying. You're going to need their votes if you make it to the end. And I hope you do. Speaking of which, just like the editors told us exactly who was going to get the idol and when, they also had us thinking that Dan was the boot this week. He was not shown in a good light. He was shown thinking he solved the puzzle twice and being wrong. He was shown being mean to Shireen in the water. Not the best Dan episode. And we were led to believe that Tyler was flipping, and presumably Carolyn with him. I was legitimately surprised when the vote was for Haley. This is one time when I really don't mind the editors hiding the ball from me. Haley getting voted out next was an easy boot episode, a predictable boot. I kind of like that with a predictable boot, they held it from us and made us think maybe something else was happening. Ordinarily, I don't like missing the strategy talk that changes the game, but nothing changed the game this time. The game stayed the same. So I kind of like that they had my attention diverted. And finally, number 10, keeping Joe. Pre-merge, Mike had the opportunity to go with Rodney and get rid of Joe. He chose not to, and it may come back to bite him. But I kind of like having Joe in the game for Mike's sake. I think back to Tony with all the attention on getting rid of Spencer. I think back to Aris with all the attention on getting rid of Terry. And I think maybe Mike, with everybody's attention being getting rid of Joe, might come out on top. Go Mike. Well, that's all for this week. Later, peeps. Will at the Giant Ninja.
All right.
I got
Will.
I got 2 things from that. Iceland is not
All right.
days ahead of us. They are maybe a day ahead of us. They're not on Sunday yet. But I like the point about Mike basically kept Joe, to me, as a semi-vote. You know, at some point, I think he'll be able to trust Joe or work with Joe, whereas he would never have a chance with Joaquin because Joaquin was all Rodney.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that was the right decision, too. Joe cannot win the next 7 or 8 challenges. Just can't do it.
Well, yeah, he
Can't
could.
do it. He cannot.
The odds are against him, but it is possible.
It's possible, but he cannot win that many challenges.
In other words, you don't want him to.
No, it would be tough because I think Mike's played a better social game, but for Joe to get to the end winning every challenge would be hard not to give him the win.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So.
All right, David. Well, tonight I'm happy that the D&D not fantasy, but the D&D challenge points don't come on Thursday nights.
Oh, she just sent them to me. Do you want me to read them?
She did not just send them.
I'm just kidding.
And I'm glad she didn't, because no, I don't want to read them. But I have a little quiz for you, David.
Oh boy, is it about this episode?
Yes.
It's not Big Brother Canada or anything, is it?
No.
Okay, good.
Man, you should see. You know what? I'm going to show you. I meant to do this last week, but we were running so long I didn't show you. These are all the notes I took last week for Miko's challenge. I had stuff like first juicy blindside. Tyler said that. It's the game, Joe. I had I had everything. I had the back row at the challenge was Joe, Mike, Tyler, Sierra, Dan, and Will. In front row was Haley, Jen, Rod. I mean, I had everything.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't ask any of those questions. All right. David, these will be, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 questions.
Oh, my goodness.
So I guess we can make them 1 point each.
It won't matter.
All right. What colors are the 2 rubber bracelets Joe wears?
I can picture them. I just can't picture them in color. Is one of them orange?
Answer both.
And yellow.
Okay, so you get, well, no, you got it wrong. It's green and yellow.
You said 2. So I divided your points up for you per answer, but you were making mine 1 or none. 1 or none. Gotcha.
That's right, David.
So glad you didn't take those free points.
Let me ask you this. If you're doing surgery on someone and you only get one of the arteries zipped back up, do they go, oh, that's okay, you get half credit?
Okay, so you get 0 of the points I was offering because I don't know if you got all the answers right on all those either. You had 5 arteries to get and you got 3.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Who said Joe wins everything? I'm sorry. Who says Joe wins everything? It's this person did not ask.
That's the quote.
Yeah. Joe wins everything.
Oh goodness. That's about how I feel.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this
Yeah,
time.
because when Miko sent us a message, when I watched it again, I didn't even pay attention to quotes. So, gosh.
Joe wins everything.
Let's say Jen.
No, it was Shireen.
Oh, I was also going to guess Rodney. Good for Shireen.
All right. Name the survivors who wore their buff on their head during the reward challenge. Okay, now I will give you, well, no.
How many were there?
I'll give you a half a point for the first one since you're being a little baby about it.
Oh, my goodness. Reward challenge.
Name the survivors who wore their buff on their head during the reward challenge. You'll get like a certain percentage for each one you get right. There are 5 of them.
Dan, Will, and Rodney. Let's see. I'm gonna guess Jen. And I don't think Joe did. I don't think Mike did. Shireen, I'm not sure because her hair I think was up, but I'm gonna say Shireen.
All right, so you got 4 out of 5. Which gives you a half a point.
Oh, half a point. I got 4 out of 5 and I get half a point. You're such a mean teacher. Okay, you got 9 out of 10 questions on your exam, so you got a D+.
I'm grading on a curve.
Yeah, but the curve's in your favor, not in the student's favor. Which one did I miss?
It was Sierra. And it was Will, Rodney, Sierra, Dan, and Shireen.
So it wasn't Jen. Okay.
That's correct. Who said...
That's a surgery moment. I missed an artery, so I lose the whole arm.
You got a half a point. Come on. Who said, together we can make each other stronger?
Rodney to Will.
No, that was Haley talking about the girls bonding together.
Oh, my. See, I didn't even pay attention to that scene because I knew she was going home.
All right. How many knee rotations...
What?
How many knee rotations were in Mike's Happy Dance? How many knee rotations?
3.
How many times did he go around in a circle?
I'm going to guess 3.
It's 4.
Ah! I'm surprised that buzzer hasn't gone off more.
I am going to win tonight.
You already have.
Tonight.
No, but I'm reducing your points because I'm putting the curve on those two. So you earned 0.75% of a point.
Oh. Who was walking on the beach, all right, in the background, so they weren't in the forefront of the scene, but they were in the background walking on the beach, while Joe, Haley, Jen, and Shireen were doing yoga?
Oh, I remember the yoga scene. I really don't remember anybody in the background, so I'm going to guess Will.
It was Will. Congratulations.
Thank you. Is that a whole point, or is that a quarter of a point?
That would be 1 point.
Because there were 4 of the people in the scene, so is it 20? Is it 0.2?
You get 1 whole point for that. Who said, "How about that"?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You remember?
No, I missed it because all I heard was who said, "How about," and then you froze on the screen. So
Who said, "How about that"?
I don't know. I'm going to guess Shireen.
It was Joe after Haley gave her flippers speech. So Haley did that whole big speech about the
yeah. That's right.
And he goes, "How about that?"
How about that?
On the immunity necklace, David, if you get this right, this one is worth 5 points.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to go back and listen to last week's episode when you described it down to a T.
All right. This is worth 5 points. But if you guess it right, you only get 2 points.
What?
If you know it, you get 5. But if you guess it, you get 2.
Okay.
All right. On the immunity necklace, there are numbers. Wait, you're not looking at it right now, are you?
No.
You're looking at something. What are you doing?
People are messaging.
Well, all right. On the immunity necklace, there are numbers around the inside edge. Which number is at the top of the circle?
Which number? That's the compass, right?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm not a Boy Scout, and I've never used a compass.
So you will be guessing. So it's worth 2 points.
So it's a number?
Yes. There's numbers around.
Is that like true north?
Is
that what I mean? Numbers around the edge of the compass?
Okay. On the inside of the compass, it has the north, south stuff. And then around the edges, there's numbers.
Let me go to the chat room in case somebody's screaming it at me.
Oh, they won't know it unless they stopped and paused, because I had to stop and pause. Remember that challenge I gave you? How many laces or...
Yeah, Haley's
Yeah.
suit. Yeah, I remember that.
Top, yeah.
I'm going to guess 0.
It's, oh, good guess, 60. Wow, what
Oh,
a
that's
shame.
true. That would be the end of the count. That's true. Because 1 would be the first one.
All right, whose name is on the bottom right of the America tribe flag?
Oh my goodness.
Whose name is on the bottom? Now this sounds like a Miko question, right?
Yeah, it does. That's a great question.
Whose name is on the bottom? I'm sorry, it should have been the bottom left. Whose name is on the bottom left? As you're looking at it, it's the bottom left.
Okay, I think Haley's is in the middle because I remember her putting a hand on it. So I'm going to guess Carolyn.
Tyler.
Ha! I was close. Got the Y.
Oh, so I should give you 0.1?
0.2. There's like 5 or 6 letters in there.
All right, 2 more questions.
Oh, good.
Who said, I don't even know where to start?
I don't even know where to start. Tyler at Tribal Council.
That was Sierra. Do you know when she said it?
Was that talking to the girls about Dan?
Yeah. They said, what has Dan said to you?
So I get half a point. Okay.
No. Last question.
The curve.
You have a total of 2 points right now.
Uh-huh.
Last question. Who was the last person to put their torch up? Who was the last person to put their torch up at Tribal Council?
I'm going to guess Mike. Was it Joe?
It was Will.
Will. So it's not, I mean, they're supposed to come in by height, but he's not the tallest one.
I didn't say who came in last. I said who
No, I
put
know.
the torch in last.
That's what I figured. It wasn't the last person to come in. Rachel had a good comment about Joe.
All right.
Congratulations. You won the non-official challenge tonight. Well done. Happy birthday to you.
It was the D&D challenge.
Joe's.
So I've won the D&D challenge. Awesome.
You've won the birthday special, non-official D&D challenge. Speaking of your blue cup there, you see my
Oh, isn't that awesome?
my new bobblehead? Davis made me a red solo cup bobblehead with the small.
Oh, now
red
that
solo
is
cup on top.
cool. That is so cool.
They did.
Talk. Okay.
Check 1 2 1 2. Yeah, this is a bobblehead he made for me. He goes, "Are you gonna put it on the podcast?" I said, "You bet your red cup I'm putting it on the podcast."
That's awesome.
So that's pretty cool.
All right, so this is my
Hold on.
giant. What? You got?
Oh, I got a comment from Rachel from the chat room, but go ahead and finish the cup talk.
Oh, I don't want to make Rachel mad.
Good
Go ahead.
answer. See, if Dan were only listening before he went on the show, she said Joe's not winning this. Joe's going to pull a season 25 Malcolm and get eliminated before getting too close to the finals. If he makes it, he wins. I think the others are aware of it and will try to get rid of him sooner rather than later. He's too big a threat.
Read that again. Not because I wasn't paying attention, but because I want to be able to better put it through my mind.
Okay, are you ready now?
Yes.
Okay. She said Joe's not winning this. He's going to pull a season 25 Malcolm, get eliminated before getting too close to the final. If he makes it, he wins. She thinks the others are aware of it and will try to get rid of him sooner than later. He's too big a threat. And then she just commented and says, "Yeah, you watch out, Dwayne."
I don't think he wins, and I don't think he nor Mike win, and I think they will be part of the second chance. I think they will be up for votes for the second chance season.
Do you think your pick Max is still going to win?
No.
You looked at the players.
I was like, Max, he ain't playing anymore. I don't think Jen's going to win, and I think she's going to be a second chance player.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Oh, I bet Carolyn doesn't win. I bet she's the second chance player.
So who do you think could win, Tyler?
Gosh, I'd hate to say Tyler, but Dan wins it all.
He's going to come out to Tribal Council and apologize and say everything was fake. I'm not really that way.
Women all over America torch CBS with fake fire. I don't want to, get anybody to do anything wrong.
No.
Anyway, so check out this cup, right? Mm-hmm. This is a 32-ounce insulated solo cup.
Yeah, I see that.
Insulated. In other words, there's air in there. This is my new favorite cup.
Do they come in a stack or is that a single purchase?
You know how Walmart will have those big bins full of DVDs for $5?
Yeah.
They had a big bin full of these for $2.
Wow.
I should have bought more, but Connie gets a little irritated at me because I tend to like to buy cups.
That's where we're alike.
Yeah. Remember whenever I came to your house? Just a little shooting the breeze here.
And you stole my Star Wars cup?
Would you like to tell the story, David? Huh? Would you like to tell it?
No, go right ahead, Tom.
All right, so it's like early in the morning. I've got a 24-hour drive back to wherever we're living. Okay, maybe 18.
24 hours drive. You never
Wait,
lived that far.
Wait, okay, hold on. So this was whenever we lived in South Carolina. So probably, boy, remember when it wasn't that far away? Okay, anyway.
6 hours was nothing.
I know.
That was now that's a rest stop, but otherwise
Yeah.
it was nothing.
So anyway, so I'm about to leave, and I'm like, can I have some water for the trip? And David pulls out a Star Wars cup. And he goes, which one do you want? He pulls out 2 of them. Which one do you want? Well, Davis is probably, 6 years old by this time,
Maybe
5 years
younger.
old.
Yeah, 5 or probably.
And I picked the Anakin Skywalker one, I think.
Yeah, I think you did.
And Davis went crazy, crying. And I still took it. Didn't I? I don't know what happened.
You did. He wasn't crying at the time. He was confused why I was giving it, because he knew that I collected cups. Because we are religious going to the 7-Eleven when they put up special cups, and of course we love Slurpees anyway. But I remember after you filled it and was taking it, and his question was, "Is he going to keep that? Is he going to bring it back? What are we going to get that back?" So Davis, he understood.
Daddy, why is that mean man taking my cup?
Speaking of Davis, he was getting his nightly ice cream tonight, which he is an ice cream fanatic.
That is a bad habit, Davis.
I know, but he only gets like 2 small scoops, just like barely 2 scoops, and it's really a taste. It's almost like one of those Top Chef amounts where you just get a taste of something.
It's not like our scoops.
No, not like the manatee.
Okay,
scoops,
honey,
no.
I'm just getting 2 scoops.
I need a second bowl though.
Yeah.
Hang on. So
where are those 2-quart bowls?
He gets his 2 scoops, and I usually get a small scoop and throw it on. It makes him feel like he's getting more. And he said, "Can I get 2.5?" And I said, "Okay."
How sweet.
Yeah. And I said, "Well, not quite a half." He goes, "Like half of a half?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay." I said, "But tell me," and he's really good at fractions. I said, "How much is half of a half?" He said, I forget what he said then. I said, "Just how much is half and a half?" He goes, "This." I said, "No, how much is half of a half?" He goes, "This right here." He's telling me, "Look, Dad, this is half of a half." I said, "No."
What's he pointing at?
His ice cream, the scoop he just took out and put in his bowl. And Terry's laughing her head off. I said, "What's half of a half?" And he goes, This right here." "Look, you idiot, Dad. Half of the half is right here in my bowl."
Yeah.
I said, "No, the number. Oh, 1/4. There you go. Now you can have the rest of it." So,
aren't you proud?
Kid moments, yes.
Man. So Easter morning, right? I'm gonna tell you a little story. So it's our first Easter where one of our kids was not home.
Who wasn't home?
Nathan.
Oh, okay.
He was at college. He had some kind of singing thing he had to be at, so he wasn't there. And by pure coincidence, his girlfriend also was staying at school.
Oh, coincidence.
So, Connie has me mail a Easter box to Nathan.
Yes.
Right. But Easter morning, after we get back from services and everything, there's 2. Connie always puts Easter baskets on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And when Nathan was home, we would do Easter egg hunts. But the 2 younger ones are like, "Mom, we're not doing Easter egg hunts." So, Connie needs some grandkids sometime. she misses all these fun little things. Yeah. But anyway, what the heck are you doing?
I was checking something and that video came on of your service. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, don't do that. So anyway, so we have 2 baskets and we had this little purple egg on the table.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I FaceTime Nathan. And I say, "Nathan, we have something we need to tell y'all." And Connie starts crying and tearing up. And she said, you see how there's 2 baskets, but do you know what that purple egg is for? And they're like, "No." She goes, "We're going to have another baby." And they were like, and Josh was like, "No, you're not." And Connie convinced him, though, and eventually he was like, "Oh, man, I got to tell everybody." And Timothy's like, "Wow, this is cool. This is a weird feeling and everything." So I go into the kitchen, and I give Connie a hug, and I start laughing. So then they all know that it's a joke. And Connie was like, "You idiot. I was going to make him think this all day long." It would have been all over United States of America by
Yes.
the end of the day that we were having another kid, which we are not. And let me tell you something. I'm 46 years old on Saturday. I do not want to be 64 years old when my last child leaves the house.
No.
Because I got some vacations to do with my friends, the Joneses, as soon as they get their last one out of the house.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. Gonna have some fun.
He might not even have to leave the house.
Okay, maybe not that kind of fun.
No.
We're gonna have some
Not
fun.
with the Joneses. No.
No. Oh man, we need to go. Okay, here's the thing about the Grand Canyon. All right, here's the thing. You go, you look at it, and you're done.
Yep.
That's a long way to drive to look at something for 10 minutes.
I would guess there's other things to do. Yes.
But what?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure your wife would know. Before we left, she would know exactly everything around there to do.
Then we'd have to hit the redwood forest,
Mm-hmm.
the Gulf Stream waters.
I could sense that coming.
All right, so hey, if you haven't seen it, you need to see Interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it yet?
No, but I almost got it tonight at Redbox, but I didn't know how much time I'd have tomorrow, so I'll probably get it tomorrow and watch it tomorrow night.
It's a 3-hour movie, so
Oh, my goodness.
it's worth every second of it.
Okay.
Have you seen Into the Woods?
No.
You don't want to see that, do you?
I'd probably see it. Is it a lot of music? It's all music, though, isn't it? Somebody told me at work I wouldn't like it because it's all music. I'm like, I
It
like
is-
musicals.
Yeah, it's all music.
I liked Moulin Rouge. I loved Phantom of the Opera. But I don't know if I'd like Into the Woods. I'm not sure.
You might. Hey, I'm looking forward, if we can find it, talking about Romancing the Stone on Movie Talk with D&D.
I'd hate to talk about what we remember from the movie.
Yeah.
That's been a while.
And then we're going to try to do a newer movie. Now,
Yes.
we're not going to do movies that are about, we're talking about our other podcast, Movie Talk with D&D. We're not going to talk about movies that are in the theater. We'll talk about movies like that. We might get one as it comes out on DVD,
Mhm.
you know. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And then your friend wants to do, I don't want to do that movie. Ugh. I'm not gonna tell him what it is, just in
That's-
case I can talk you out of it.
That's why we need to do it.
No. All right, everybody. It's been fun. I got to go. I got to get my reservation to try on an Apple Watch tomorrow.
That's funny because I got to get a reservation for a ferry because we're going to Cape May, New Jersey for a Coast Guard graduation
Oh.
in a couple weeks. Yep.
Wait, a Coast Guard graduation? Or
Yeah.
retirement?
Suzanne's youngest, Jared, is graduating from boot camp.
Oh.
I guess that's what they call it, graduating.
Oh.
The Coast Guard.
All right. Well, hey, again, thank you to our monthly patrons. And you can, on our website over on the right side, there's a green Patreon button. Select that if you want to become a patron of D&D. Also, thank you for shopping Amazon. Amazon, either y'all aren't shopping Amazon anymore or you've stopped using our links because we're not getting a whole lot of Amazon hits. So go ahead and shop Amazon and use our links. Follow me on Twitter at Survivor_talk. You can follow David at what?
David_SCWDD.
Yes, that's right. And let's see, Facebook.com/groups/SurvivorTalk. And our movie talk is groups/MTWDD. So thanks again for listening, everybody. If you watched us live, thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for hanging around. That's all I've got. How about you, Dave?
Okay, it was a little bit better than okay episode. That's all I got.
All right. See you, everybody.
See ya.